I wanted to do a video today about why I think it's important to not concentrate on smash numbers as much as ride height. Your smash numbers only give you the ride height, but you need to make sure that your ride height is correct. So let's roll the intro and let's talk a little bit about smash numbers. I've spent the last 30 plus years working on race cars, building race cars, and racing cars. And I'm here to help you better understand racing technology. Okay, the first thing I wanted to get real clear about smash numbers is I've always said they determine ride height. They do determine wedge a little bit and weight displacement, but when you go to put turns, let's say in your right rear, and you think you're just increasing the load on that spring, you're not. You're increasing ride height. The only thing that increases the load on that spring is more weight transfer. So if you want to increase the load on that corner, you need to increase your weight transfer or your static weight. Now, I don't want to get down on smash numbers a ton. I think they are the most accurate way to set up your car now, but you need to find your own smash numbers using somebody else's or what this guy says, or this is the way our chassis manufacturer says because the fastest driver in the country runs these numbers. That will screw you up. Now you need to find your own smash numbers because ride height is the most important thing in the back. When you have a different smash number, your push point in the back is going to end up at a different spot. Now I did a couple of videos about push point and instant centers in the front, and I encourage you to go watch those because the smash numbers determine your ride height. Your ride height is what determines your push point, and your push point is what determines the kinematic load on the front and on the rear tires. And there's a relationship between the front and the rear. That's why I say go watch those two videos and you'll understand how important ride height and smash numbers are in those corners. The way you find your own smash numbers is finding your running ride height at all four corners of your car for different times and different tracks, and then take an average. Or maybe you want to categorize it when the track slows down as opposed to when the track is fast. You'll have two different ride heights and two different smash numbers that you can use, and that will determine where your car is going to need to be set for the correct ride height and push point. I do a video about finding the correct ride height to your smash numbers as you are racing around the track, and it's basically just mounting something on your shock and spring so as your car is running, it'll push the washers or whatever, and you'll actually see where your ride height is generally ending up. We're not allowed to use telemetry or any sort of data acq on our cars. If you could run data acquisition on your car and it's legal, by all means, that is the best, because then it'll give you a trace and you can find an average. And if you hit a hole, that'll throw your little bumpers off, but you'll be able to see it in data acquisition. So I would recommend, number one, if you can run some sort of a cheap data acq on your car and go and practice, that's the best. AccuForce does sell a system that will, they'll either sell in a 9-inch version or a 7-inch version of a one corner deal, and that was about the cheapest last I had looked at it. So then what you do is you find an average of where your car is racing on the track, and then that will give you a shock eye to shock eye measurement. So then you take that shock and spring and you put it into your smash machine. You take that down to that shock eye and eye, and that is your smash number. Like I say, if somebody buys, let's say, a brand new rocket, and Rocket goes to send somebody some smash numbers, and this is what Brandon Shepard runs, or Hudson O'Neill or wherever. More than likely, a local guy racing that rocket will not hustle the car into the corner like B. Shep or Hudson O'Neill. So what you're going to need to do is figure out how hard you can hustle that thing into the corner and where your car ends up. What you need to get from your chassis manufacturer, the most important thing is what I call a finished ride height. Where does Rocket want that right rear to end up center to center on that shock when you're running around the track? So then you can always adjust your smash number so your ride height is at that height that Mark Richard wants that car, because he's determined where that car needs to run to get the correct push points, so he can give you bar angles, he can suggest how to adjust your car, but he's got to know that your car is getting to that ride height on the right rear or any corner at any given time to correctly give you setup advice. This is why it is so important to make your own smash numbers. I've seen so many instances where people set up their cars, or their chassis builders set up their cars, and they give them these ultimate smash numbers, and their cars don't handle, and then they call the chassis builder, and the chassis builder says this, and it's not helping. It's because literally when you call up and you're pulling, 3/10 of a G or a half a G less than their top car, that's going to throw everything off and may end up screwing up the advice they're going to give. It can be frustrating for them to listen to the problems and not be able to help. It'll be frustrating for you to try to fix your car and get it handling like it should. I have a couple push point diagrams and stuff like that, and instant center diagrams we'll go over, and you can see how important this whole ride height thing is in the rear, and just putting some load in that rear will raise your ride height a little bit, and those instant centers will change. So let's go over to the drawing board and I'll show you these diagrams. Okay, here's the first scenario. Let's call this perfect ride height here. Your car rolls over onto the right rear and you get the correct dimension on your eye-to-eye on your right rear shock that Rocket recommends. That'll be a ride height. You extend your rear trailing arms through and you'll get a push point. Well, Rocket is guessing that push point should be in the same spot. When they give you rod change things to help your car, they know where that spot is going to end up and how it's going to affect that car. If you blow your car in there and you're too soft and your ride height does not squish down to this point, this will change. And they can't accurately give you information on how to set up your car if they don't know where this point is and where the conversions in your arm angles are here. So it's really important that you set up your car and you are getting the correct ride height on the right rear at all times, or what they recommend. That is way more important than the smash numbers. Now, I do like smash numbers because scaling is way inaccurate. There's problems with scales, there's problems with binding. I don't like scales, so you do need to find your ideal smash number for the right rear. The push point and where the finished ride height on the right rear is way more important than what the number is. The number will give you a consistent ride height. So when you take your 250 spring, let's say, on the right rear and you decrease that to 225, you're going to have to put some turns in that right rear to get this point back to where it's important. Like I say, go and see my other videos on how the push point in the rear and the push point in the front kind of converge and kind of interconnect with each other. This is a kinematic loading point. This will actually push up on your chassis as you're on the gas. So this point here is ultimately important, and to maintain a solid ride height on your right rear is ultimately important. Now, when the track dries out, you may have two settings for the right rear. You may have a sticky, wide open throttle setting for the right rear smash number, and you might have a slick smash number for the right rear. So when you're going into the corner and you load less G into your right rear, you need to make sure that ride height ends up the same or roughly the same on all times. It'll make your car way more drivable. Now let's just say, for instance, that your ride height lowers on the right rear a little bit. Look what happens to this point. If you take load out of your right rear, you're lowering the ride height. This point will move up and you won't get your drive angle and your drive rod on the right rear as you used to have. So that's why it's really important to maintain a ride height on the right rear, more so than a smash number. But if you're ever at the races and you have your smash machine in the race trailer and you want to change complete packages to put on your car with different springs and everything, or even you might want to adjust the smash number a little just for some wedge, it is ultimately important that you have your own numbers and you change your spring and you return to that smash number with that different spring. If you like this video and you like other videos that I have on my channel, subscribe to the channel and hit the like buttons. YouTube loves it when people subscribe and hit the like buttons. It'll help me. It helps the channel serve more people because YouTube will serve this video and other videos up to more people, and I can help more people. So subscribe, hit the like button, and I will see you in the next video.